Okay, just received a board that I bought on eBay. This is an Atari Football board. The only thing that I noticed that it was missing was the processor, so I've already installed the 6502 processor that it needs. And I've hooked up my test connector. This board is missing the power resistor, power regulator, probably other things related to the onboard power. So I'm bypassing all that with these wires that were already installed. Red is 5 volts, black is ground. 12 volts is running through the connector. I've got my sync wire up for the monitor, and this is what we're getting. Constantly scrolling garbage on the screen. Now, the CPU, I've already checked it, and the reset is constantly high. So, pin 40, it's right there, or it's constantly low, sorry. So this this reset pin is always low, meaning that the processor is in constant reset. So that's where I'll focus. I don't have the schematics printed for this board yet, so I need to print that out. I'll focus on the reset circuit and see if fixing that gets this board running. These ROMs are the original ROMs. 2 of them are soldered in. One is in a socket. I don't know if that's how they did it at the factory. The socket does look like a vintage socket from that time period that Atari would have used. It's the same style as what the processor has, so I'm thinking that's factory, but I don't know. It does not look like the sockets were pulled and these were soldered in. This does look factory that these are soldered in. So anyway, that's where we're at with this. Just plugged it in, just checked the reset, saw that it was constantly active, and I will move on from there. Okay, so here's the old chip that I just cut out and replaced. This was a 9316, if I can get it to focus, 9316 from 1978. Now, a 9316 is the same thing as a 74171, which is what I've installed here, okay? And now you can see that we are not out of sync anymore. It's solid sync, but the game is not playing. When I put it in the self-test, things change, but I'm not getting any audio, so I suspect I've got a bad RAM or something, some sort of error, RAM, either RAM or ROM error that I should be getting an audio signal on, but I'm not, so I need to check to see if the amp is bad. That'll be the next thing I do. Checking the reset pin on the chip on the processor, which is pin 40. You can see now is always high. So the processor is no longer in reset. So I'm suspecting that the program is running, and I can hit the reset button. You can see and it toggles the signal. So I'm suspecting that the program's running, but it's not able to run because either a bad ROM or a bad RAM. And so I'm going to check the audio and see if it's giving me an error code. All right, so here's where the audio amp is on the board. This is a trick that I think Atari did on a lot of their games. The TDA 1004 is shown in the schematic, and it's supposed to reside where this footprint is, but you often see them put an LM380 here. All right, and this wiring, it was done at the factory this way, I'm pretty sure, because I've seen it on a lot of these boards. So everything looks okay here except for this. This wire is cut, and it's supposed to connect to here, which this thing here, this capacitor, is supposed to have 18 volts on it. Well, I don't have the proper power supply, so I'm putting 12 volts here instead. But the point is, this chip is not getting the power it needs. So I'm going to add the jumper wire here, and hopefully it wasn't cut out for a reason, like this thing is going to get super hot and explode or anything. But let me reconnect that and see if we have any audio, and then if we do, maybe there'll be an error, a RAM error that I need to fix. Okay, so I've got that missing power wire connected now. And when I put this in self-test, we have audio. That's the crowd sound, and I think that's correct for self-test. Also, when I push the buttons, I can hear it clicking, and also I can see the garbage on the screen scrolling. Now, the garbage on the screen doesn't look right. It's hard to tell because it's a color monitor. I don't think it's correct for self-test. I'm not sure. I see X's, I see letters and stuff. But self-test is apparently working. So the self-test program's working. When I put it back into regular gameplay mode, got nothing. So I didn't get any beeps or anything, which I believe this machine has beep errors for bad RAMs. So I'm concluding that the RAMs are probably good. I will need to look that up in the manual to be for sure, but right now that's my thesis. So I'm thinking the ROMs, one of the ROMs is bad. The only one that's socketed is the one I can easily swap out, so I'll swap this one out and see if that makes a difference, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I installed a good known ROM in here. It's these ROMs are the same pinout as the 2716. So I programmed 2716 and plugged it in there, and getting the same problem. Game's not running. But I've adjusted the intensity down on the monitor, and now I can actually read stuff. Before it was too blurry before because the intensity was too bright. Up here it's saying bad ROM, bad BBDDRRMM, BBDDRRMM. So it's trying to report something, bad RAM, bad ROM, something. At this point, I'm going to assume it's a bad ROM. So I will pull those ROMs out and socket them and replace them and see if that makes a difference. Not sure if I can do that tonight. It's getting late, so this is maybe the end of part 1.